Jack Rowan and Clara Owens are both saying something doesn't add up about Ethan Cole's case, and when you hear what they uncovered, you'll understand why so many people are starting to question everything.
I want to say one more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication from...
Look, Jack Rowan and Clara Owens are raising serious doubts, and you're right to click, because what they're revealing is shocking. In this video, you'll hear exactly what Jack Rowan said about the strange details that don't make sense. You'll see Clara Owens' explosive discoveries from her own investigation. And as we go through the clips later, you'll see why both of them believe the official story has major problems. We're talking about impossible weapons, decoy suspects who appear at every major tragedy, messages that sound fake, and a widow who seems way too calm. This whole thing feels off, and people are finally starting to ask the right questions.
The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay. He did not express that to me. So I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people who I think are good will be inspired to come forward with that. Again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened at 9/10, that, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him?
Before we dive into the suspicious parts, let me catch you up on what happened because you need the basics first. Ethan Cole was the founder of the Future Point Initiative, a major voice in youth politics. A young guy, only 31 years old. On September 10th, 2025, during a student Q&A event at West Ridge University, he was shot and killed. Within 33 hours, authorities arrested a 22-year-old named Tyler Reed. They said he did it. Case closed, but here's where things get strange. Clara Owens started her own investigation and uncovered some disturbing details. Ethan told 3 people the day before he died that he thought someone was going to kill him. 3 people the day before. And Jack Rowan examined the official story and said it's bizarre. Too many things don't line up. From odd weapons to impossible timelines to suspects that make zero sense. So let's break down exactly what they found, because once you see these details, you'll have questions too.
And being the plane that people have recognized is military. That's tail number N1098L. So this plane left from Texas, went over to Utah right about the time that Charlie got assassinated. It dipped real low. It seemed like who knows what this plane was being sent there for, but the fact that this plane had been used in the military rightfully alerted people to the fact that they may have had some knowledge. This plane may have had some knowledge of what was going to occur. But one thing I want to clarify for you is that plane was being contracted. You guys noticed that it was owned by LaSalle Aviation LLC. We are awaiting more information, but I just wanted to let you know that you recognize that it is strange. It did happen. There's no question. I've been saying from the beginning, this was a military operation. It's very obvious. The more you peel back the onion, it is very obvious this was a military operation. So it's fitting that you would have a plane that the military certainly uses.
Let's start with the most chilling part. Clara Owens revealed something that should have been front-page news everywhere, but wasn't. The day before Ethan Cole died, he told 3 different people that he thought he was going to be killed. Not weeks before, not months before, the day before. And this isn't rumor. 2 of those people have written communication from Ethan, actual text messages, real proof that he knew something bad was coming. Listen to what Clara said. 3 people told me off the record. 2 have written messages from Ethan, the very day before he died, saying he believed he was going to be killed. Think about that. Ethan Cole knew. He warned people, and less than 24 hours later, he was gone. So, who are they? Who did Ethan think was coming for him? And why isn't anyone investigating this? Clara hopes those people will come forward publicly, because right now this information is being ignored, and that's a problem. Now, something even stranger. A military plane. Clara revealed that on the day Ethan was killed, A military aircraft flew from Texas to Utah, arriving right around the time of the shooting, and then dipped unusually low over the area. Tail number and 1098L. Why was that plane there? What was it doing flying that low? Records show it was owned by Sky Aviation LLC, previously contracted by unknown parties. And here's what makes it more suspicious. Clara has been saying from the start this looked like a military-linked operation. If this was truly one 22-year-old acting alone, why was a military aircraft circling overhead? That doesn't add up. Clara even called out officials, asking directly who had authorized the plane. So far, no answers. Just silence. And when there's silence around obvious questions, you can't help but wonder.
The other thing, they said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit. Not going to fit.
In a backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof. What? This story is horseshit. Like, yeah. None of these things make any sense to me. Like, you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane. So he's on the roof. He shoots. He jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Now, let's talk about what Jack Rowan found. When Jack heard the official weapon story, he immediately questioned it. Authorities claimed Tyler Reed used his grandfather's World War I-era rifle, an antique with no serial number. Already strange. Why would a 22-year-old use a 100-year-old gun? But it gets wilder. Officials said Tyler took the rifle apart, stuffed it into a backpack, climbed onto a roof, then reassembled it before firing. Jack couldn't believe it. They expect us to think someone took apart an antique rifle, fit it in a backpack, climbed up and reassembled it? Impossible, he said. And he's right. Those rifles are huge, heavy, and complex. You can't just take one apart and put it back together like a toy. Even if you could, you'd need tools, time, and training, not something a random 22-year-old could do on a rooftop with people nearby. The weapon story simply doesn't hold up under basic questioning.
One guy who is the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Now, let's talk about the decoy man, because this is where things get absolutely insane. Jack Rowan described an older man who was at the scene. Right after the shooting, this guy started yelling, I did it. I did it. And even took off parts of his clothing. Already bizarre, right? But here's the part that makes no sense. This same man has reportedly shown up at other national tragedies, always in the background, always acting strangely. What are the odds? Jack asked, how can one man just happen to be at all these different events? Either he's the unluckiest person alive, or something deeper is going on. Maybe he's a distraction. Maybe he's planted there to confuse investigators. And then, right after Ethan Cole's incident, the decoy man was arrested, but not for the shooting. He was detained on unrelated charges, which conveniently made it impossible for anyone to question him about what he saw. Coincidence? Jack doesn't think so, and honestly, neither do a lot of people.
Most interest to me, what I've learned, is that his father does not believe, his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime. I was like, huh? Excuse me? That's a far cry from what the media has been telling us. Remember, the media presented this amazing story. The father realized his son was guilty, so it goes, right? And then he phoned over a friend to help him convince his son to turn himself in, because this guy, you know, this mysterious guy was a friend and just had a connection with Tyler. And eventually they said, you got to do the right thing here. We know this is you. That was the vibe. Certainly that's what the media was putting down for us to pick.
Now, let's talk about Tyler Reed's family, because Clara Owens actually spoke to them. And what they told her is completely different from what the media reported. The news said Tyler's father realized his son was guilty and turned him in. Good father. Tough decision. That's the story everyone heard. But Clara's sources say otherwise. According to people close to the family, Tyler's parents don't believe he did it. They insist their son was framed. And when you hear their side, it paints a very different picture of what really happened.
She says she doesn't believe Charlie Kirk was killed by Tyler Robinson because Kirk appeared to her in a dream. Yeah, this is what I want to get to real quick.
Said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that, but I do believe that. I sure hope if I was assassinated in front of the world that he would raise hell to figure out what actually took place in that day. That's not being a friend. A friend is not someone who stays silent when lies are being told by the federal government. That's not a friend. Again, emotionally manipulative.
Now, let's talk about something uncomfortable. Ethan Cole's wife, Erica. No one wants to accuse a grieving widow of anything. But when people watched how she reacted, many said something just didn't feel right. A commentator named Nick Flint said it best. He wasn't trying to attack her. He was simply pointing out what millions of people had noticed but were too afraid to say aloud. Erica Cole, the widow of a man shot in front of hundreds, seemed composed. Too composed. Within just 72 hours of Ethan's death, she took full control of the Future Point initiative. 3 days after losing her husband, she was back on camera, dressed perfectly, smiling slightly, talking about continuing Ethan's vision. Nick said on his show, "It's one thing to move forward. But when your husband dies suddenly, violently, and you're online 3 days later talking about event planning and media partnerships, something feels off." Now, grief is complicated. People process loss in different ways. But what raised eyebrows wasn't just her calmness, it was the timing and money. According to internal reports, Erica authorized a complete transfer of Future Point's main accounts to her name. And here's where it gets dark. Ethan had publicly stated a week earlier that he was preparing an audit. He suspected millions of dollars had disappeared. He even said in an interview, "I don't care who's responsible. If someone's been stealing, it ends this month." 3 days after his death, the very person now in charge of those finances was his wife. Coincidence or convenience? Clara Owens later pointed out another odd detail. Erica refused every interview request about her husband's final days. She also shut down communication with several of Ethan's closest friends, including one who managed his personal calendar. When asked why, Erica simply said, "I'm protecting Ethan's legacy." But protecting it from what? From the truth? From scrutiny? Or from the possibility that Ethan's audit was about to expose something much bigger than anyone realized? People started asking those questions quietly. And soon, Clara found that the deeper she looked into Erica's takeover, the stranger things got. So, why does this matter? Why should you care that Jack Rowan and Clara Owens are questioning the official story? Because when major voices start asking questions, it usually means something's wrong. When details don't add up, citizens in a free society should demand clarity. That's not conspiracy, it's common sense. Clara Owens pointed out that she's being attacked for asking questions. People tell her to be quiet, to let the family grieve. But she responded, "They want us to believe silence honors Ethan. It doesn't. He spent his life asking questions." She's right. Ethan Cole built his legacy on open dialogue and truth-seeking. So the best way to honor him is to keep asking what really happened. Jack Rowan added something important. If you want people to stop believing in truth, flood them with nonsense until they give up. Maybe that's the real game, to confuse everyone until nobody knows what's real anymore.
We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's awful.
And is he dead?
That's what was just
One of the guys out there just said it was
spoken
confirmed that he's dead.
in the lobby was just.
I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
Whoa.
Murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
Now, we have to talk about money, because if you follow the money, you often find the truth. And in Ethan Cole's story, the money trail might be the most revealing clue of all. Just 7 days before he was killed, Ethan announced a full financial audit of his organization, the Future Point Initiative. He told his board that millions of dollars were missing, funds that had supposedly gone to community programs and overseas partnerships. But when he looked deeper, the numbers didn't match. Whole departments existed only on paper. Invoices from non-existent companies. Money wired to accounts that led nowhere. He told a close colleague that he was about to expose everything. And then 1 week later, he was dead. Now, here's what's chilling. After Ethan's death, those same financial documents disappeared. The servers storing the internal records were accidentally wiped. And when Clara Owens tried to get access to backups, she was told the files had been corrupted by a software glitch. But she found something they didn't erase, fragments of internal memos. And in those memos, one name appears repeatedly, Project Asterion. No one outside the top board knew what it meant. But Clara believes Project Asterion was a secret funding channel, a system designed to quietly move large sums of money into private hands. And guess what? Ethan was the only person asking questions about it. He'd even scheduled a public live stream to announce his findings. That stream was supposed to happen the day after he died. When Clara uncovered that, she said something that gave everyone chills. Ethan didn't just die suddenly. He died right on schedule. And then there's Erica, Ethan's widow. Within 72 hours, she took full control of Future Point, replaced the financial staff, and publicly announced the audit would be postponed indefinitely. The timing couldn't have been more convenient. Millions unaccounted for. Key witnesses gone silent. Files erased. And the one man ready to reveal it all, suddenly gone. Clara also mentioned a vivid dream that shook her. She said she saw Ethan standing beside a clock tower, whispering one phrase. It was betrayal. She woke up believing that the betrayal was not personal, it was systemic. Something built into the organization itself, something Ethan never saw coming until it was too late. And then she said this. I don't think this was about politics anymore. It was about power, about money, about someone making sure the truth stayed buried. Whether you believe in dreams or not, you can't ignore the facts. Ethan Cole was about to reveal something massive, and now, every trail that could have proved it is gone. So the question remains, was this coincidence or a carefully timed silencing? Because if Clara's right, then the real story of Ethan Cole hasn't even begun to surface yet. Let's wrap this up. Joe Rogan and Clara Owens have raised serious questions about Ethan Cole's case. We've got a weapon story that doesn't make sense. A mysterious decoy who appears at multiple tragedies. Ethan warning people he feared for his life. A military plane circling overhead. A widow taking control within 72 hours. And millions of missing dollars from an organization Ethan was about to audit. So here's the big question. Was this really one 22-year-old acting alone, or something much bigger that we're not being told? I don't know the answer, but I do know the official story has more holes than Swiss cheese. And when people like Joe Rogan and Clara Owens start digging, maybe it's time we all pay attention. What do you think? Do these inconsistencies make you question the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want to stay updated as more unfolds, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because something tells me this story isn't over.
Turning point. Answering the questions is what he was doing in the second that he died, okay? And we all are feeling spiritually the same way, so I'm just going to say it. They're not grieving right. It's not up to us to decide how people grieve, but I will say unequivocally that you shouldn't grieve by lying or by gaslighting. Is that fair? Can we all agree? You should not grieve by lying and gaslighting the public.
You had a bunch of, if you're going to kill a guy, you had a bunch of other wacky shit that doesn't make any sense, and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave a gun that didn't do it out in the woods. You do a bunch of shit like that.
Let's go back to when this all began, because Joe Rogan's first reaction on his podcast shows just how shocking it was. He was live on air when news broke that Ethan Cole had been shot. You could hear the disbelief in his voice. This just happened. Ethan Cole's been shot. Is he okay? He asked. He checked social media, trying to find out what was happening in real time. It doesn't feel real, Jack said. It's surreal. It'll take a long time to process this. He also warned how divided the country had become, that some people might even celebrate Ethan's death simply because of political differences. No one deserves this, Jack said. No one deserves violence for their opinions. And sadly, he was right. Some people did celebrate, and that's disturbing.